Hey everybody, it's Shannon. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to go ahead and do the legit kit organization video that I've said I was going to do. And I've started. You'll see I already have them labeled and everything. I worked a little bit on it with Stephanie on her channel. I also then made a rookie mistake and recorded an entire 40-minute video on how to do this, or so I thought, because I didn't hit record. Therefore, there was no recording. But we're gonna try again today. We're gonna see how it works. Hopefully it all goes well today. Appreciate you guys being here. A little bit of housekeeping and some thread repair. I am getting ready to begin the Legit Kits block of the month, the first Sunday of every month starting in June from first Sundays from 1 to 3 p.m. We'll be going live on my YouTube channel and sewing up the blocks with you guys, regardless, however you guys decided to do it. If you got the digital and you're picking out your own fabrics, or if you're getting the kits and you're going to do it right from the kits with me, we'll go through some organizational tips. I'd love for you guys to share how you guys have done it, if you've done a legit kit before and you have tips and tricks on how you organize it. Because as I'm showing you how I'm doing this is what works for me after a couple of legit kits. It's an ever-evolving thing. I started one way and moved into this way. This is the way that works for me and I really like right now. Who knows what I'll be doing in a couple of legit kits? You never know. And if there's a way that works for you and makes sense to you, awesome. And I want you to share that information because there might be somebody else who doesn't get my way and they want to try it out on your way. So that will be awesome. The first Sunday of every month. Starting in June, and it's a year-long block of the month, so we've got a lot of Sunday afternoons together. I'm looking forward to that. In addition to that, I'm also doing a 2-color quilt challenge with Stephanie Stitches. We just went on, gosh, it already seems like a week ago, but it was literally last night, and we talked about how we're setting that up, what we're doing for choosing the blocks, for working together with you guys. You'll have the opportunity to vote on which 2 blocks each month we'll do, and this is going to be a 6-month. Oh, my dog's walking around and making everything jiggle. Sorry about that. Lilu, go lay down. Go on. Sorry. So the 2-color quilt challenge is a 6-month program that we're doing. You'll get to vote again on the 2 blocks that we do each month. There are 2 12-inch blocks and they're free. These are like traditional blocks that you don't have to pay, and you don't have to get the block. Oh, actually, you can see them right here. These block boxes is what we're picking them from. I'm doing the odd months and Stephanie's doing the even months. You do not have to get the blocks because these are free traditional blocks. And you don't have to get the pattern. Stephanie will be writing up the pattern. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm not that advanced yet. But Stephanie will be writing up the pattern and sharing that on her blog every month. I will be sharing the voting, the polling on my YouTube community tab every month. And so you guys get to vote. Then you guys will get the free patterns from Stephanie's blog. And then you can come on the 3rd Tuesday of every month and sew along with us. So the blocks will be picked the 1st Tuesday of every month. We'll have a week of voting, and then the patterns will go up. Then you'll have some time to cut out. I would definitely suggest coming with your fabric cut already, because we're only gonna have a couple hours on Tuesday, the 3rd Tuesday of every month. from 6 to 8. So I would come with the fabric prepared, and then we will sew together. And then we're also going to want you guys to email us the fabrics you've chosen, how you're, laying out the fabric in that each block. And so share those and email them to us, and then we will share the blocks on the first Tuesday of every month when we pick the new set of blocks, and we'll share what ours looked like, what you guys shared with us. We'll have a little show and tell, which will be a lot of fun. You don't have to do that at all if you don't want to. There's not a requirement that you do that, but it would be cool if some of you did, and we would share that during the video on the first Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Those first Tuesday ones will be a quick live. Like, we're gonna pick the blocks and then do our show and tell, and that'll be it. The third Tuesday will be when we're on from 6 to 8 and sewing the blocks together. So that's the other thing. I hope you guys are able to join. Coming up quickly here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be on the guy who sews, Sean. I think most of you might know who he is. I'm gonna be a guest on his channel on for Brecky, which is awesome. So I'll put those details out in the description here too. Very excited about that. Well, yeah, so that's what we've got going on. Now on to organizing BJ the Blue Jay, the kit. So when the kit comes to you, you'll see, well, this is definitely not the biggest one, but you'll see the packaging, and it'll be in a plastic bag with some fun swag inside, and a lot of paperwork that you're going to want to go through. And I apologize for the plastic sound. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Put this over here. And then I'll put this back up here. And you will receive a Legit Quilter sticker, which is awesome. I've got a couple of these now, and I have them everywhere. And you'll get a magnet of your finished project that you can put up on your fridge, or if you have like a magnet board, like in your sewing studio somewhere. This magnet is really fun and cute. And oh, you know what? I think I have a couple of them hanging out over here. So again, like in all of your kits, you get magnets that shows them off. Oh, sorry about that light. I'm still learning lighting. It's just this really bright light above me. So sorry about that. But yeah, magnets are super cool. So we'll start with all the paperwork first. If you have never done a Legit kit before, I recommend at least giving it a good perusal. Take a look at all of the paperwork that comes with it. The first few pages are, I'm going to show it on the overhead, and then I'll show it in here, are just the cover that lets you know this is a very detailed project. This is a level 3 spicy of their projects. The Legit kit, excuse me, the block of the month is 1, super friendly. This one will definitely have, and I think you will be able to tell here in the tail feathers and then the wings, that's going to be some tiny piecing, a lot of seams coming together. So that's going to be where you're going to want to pay a little bit more attention, maybe go a little bit slower, take your time, definitely follow all of the tips and tricks that they give you in the following pages when you're working at that point. A great suggestion that I've heard from other Legit kit folks, ambassadors and folks that teach classes, is start with these outside blocks. Here, I'm going to show you the next. Well, that's just an awesome, pretty picture of what the final will look like. And I'm going to end up framing all of them and having them all throughout my room. Here we go. This is what I'm saying. Sorry. Of course, as soon as I start recording, my voice starts to go. As beginners, the recommendation is to start with these blocks here on the outside. These one, well, maybe not row B1, because that's got some tiny piecing, but definitely A1, A4, B4, C4 for sure. These ones that have fewer pieces, so that you can get used to what it feels like to get the paper ready, get the fabric ready, cut the fabric generous enough so that you make sure that you're covering the paper before you flip the fabric over. You'll want to start with these outside ones and then start working your way in to the ones that are going to be a little more, you want to pay a little bit more attention to, a little more complicated. Not hard, not impossible, I promise you, not impossible. The way that they have them broken down, this, where this has probably 1 million pieces, not even exaggerating, you can do it because it'll be broken down where you're just working on this little area and you're working with just that, and that's all you have to focus on at that time. So try to remember that you only have to do one piece at a time. You can put the other stuff to the side, all the other fabrics, all the other papers, put them to the side and just work on the one piece. You don't have to think about that this is everything you're working on. You only have to think about, well, today I'm doing this one. Some folks, because these pieces are larger, they like to flop around a lot. So some folks will do things like maybe glue or a stay stitch in the seam allowance to help hold these in place. Glue, usually when you're putting one down, you'll glue it down so it doesn't move as you're trying to get piece 2 aligned and then sewn. But then stay stitches to hold it all together while you're waiting to put all of the rows and the columns, all that stuff together. You can, up to you how you want to do it. You can work in rows. Often they recommend working in kind of in quadrants or in sections where you would actually put, like you do this 4-patch. So you can decide how, as you're doing them, if you want to put all of A row together and get that all sewn together, and then B, and then put A and B together. Completely up to you. There's tons of different ways that you might want to do it. And once they're all complete, then you can really just make up your mind. I like to see things come together, and I usually just go, like reading a book, I'll go A1 through A4, and then I like to see them put together because I want kind of instant gratification. So I end up doing it in rows. Folks, Legit Kits does recommend like a lot of them in quadrants, like you'll see when we do the block of the month. It's set up that way too. But entirely, it's your quilt. Nobody's in your room telling you what to do. And if they are, tell them to leave because they're not doing it. So there we go. That's my 2 cents on that. So I put these pages in this piece, this welcome kit folder, but I also take from the back side, and again, as a beginner, I would absolutely take the time to read the Foundation Paper Piece Kit User's Guide, and go through, and this explains everything that you're doing. It explains piecing, it explains trimming, it explains lining up the magic white lines so that it sews together beautifully. Definitely take a look at this paperwork and spend some time. See, like this guy is in blocks. Some folks do it in rows. Totally up to you. But I take this part and I put this behind those pieces, and I put them in the welcome kit. And then I've got my welcome kit all ready to go. And cat hair. I use this accordion file, which is enormous. It was recommended in the Sail Away test testers group. Somebody found it on Amazon, and I thought that was genius. I was using binders, which a lot of folks do in the beginning, and some folks just do that because it makes sense to them. I was having trouble with the, you know, the plastic paper holders pages. I was having a hard time. They were slipping out of the 3-ring binder things, you know, and it was driving me insane. So it was making me unhappy. This I thought was genius. So this is where I went. I went with this big old accordion file, enormous file folder. And this guy slipped out, but that's all right. Get it back in there. So there we go. At the beginning, at the front of this is where I will often put the Legit Quilter sticker right there. Why not? I'll go ahead and do that right now. Go ahead and put that in here. Well, we'll see how straight I can do it on camera. Let's see. Put this back under so it stops flopping. And here we go. Legit Quilter. Not so straight, huh? That's all right. Good enough for me. So there we go. Now this file folder is ready to go. And then I will put the welcome kit in. I'm gonna put this guy back over on the side. Put the welcome kit in the first spot. And hope it doesn't fall off the table. There we go. There we go. All right, so the next is the color guide. And, oops, pattern page. That is also, here we go. Working section, assembly guide, color guide. Do I do the color guide? I guess I do the color guide in the welcome kit too. Oh, no. The reason why I don't have one for this kit is because this guy is the one I deemed the one. I'm going to cut up this color guide, these 3 pages. I'm going to be cutting up, and I'm going to start. So for each project, I put all of the colors that come in the project in files, and I'll show you in this video. But I have decided that I am getting to the point where, as I'm having leftovers after I'm done with the cutting all of the color, I definitely am to the point where I can have a binder of all the scraps. So I'm going to start with BJ the Blue Jay, and I'm going to cut all of these color codes out, and I'm going to create folders just for each individual color. So SG will be sea glass, and I'll alphabetize it in one of these file folders. And this is the one I'm starting with. So I'm going to start with all these pretty blues and into the earth tones, which I really love. So this is not going in the welcome kit for me. This is going to be sacrificed and put on the, here we go, put in this part. So I will start filing my scraps after every project in its own file system. So I'll be able to, if I miscut, if I goof up and I go a little bit too hard on a piece, I hope to have a stash of all Kona to go to, and at some point might even have enough to work up a kit that I have. I also have the digital kit on. I'll be able to do it again from the leftovers. So that's why this is staying out, and usually goes in the welcome kit or a separate color guide depending, but not this guy. So I'm going to put him over here. Next, the assembly guide. Also, you want to take a look at this. When I am working up each block, I will take, so for this project, it is done in row A, row B, row C, and row D. But the one I'm working on, either a couple of blocks or the one block I'm working on, whichever, I will pull out separately into the working section, because sometimes I start later than I think I did, and I'm getting tired and I'm making too many mistakes and it's time to stop. I will put everything, fabric, the fabric, the sheets that I'm working on, and then the assembly guide into the working section. And then I just have the working section. Either I'll leave the working section on my desk, so I can come back to it the next day or 2 days from now or however long I'm going to be away, but I will be able to come back to that working section and know where I'm at. I found that keeps everything straight in my head. But I will bring the assembly guide for the block that I'm working, or blocks, whichever, into my working section for each one that I'm doing. So you want to take a look at the assembly guide to make sure you understand how it's put together. One thing you might want to do is go onto Legit Kit's website and see if there's any, it's pronounced errata, right? I always feel weird saying it because it sounds like I'm saying erotic. Sorry. But if there are any fixes to anything that might have been put incorrectly, you can also do that. Take a look on the website as soon as you get the kit and see if there might be any things that you want to update, and then you can, you know, write it in or reprint. I'm not sure you can reprint, but make sure that you have that information before you start, so you don't find yourself frustrated. But so the assembly guide goes in the assembly guide folder like that, and into its spot. There we go. Then the cut guide is next. The cut guide, I would definitely say take a look at as soon as you get to it, because you want to start looking at the sizes of the pieces of fabrics that you've got. I keep thinking I've gotten to the, nope, there we go. Okay, yep, there we go. So for each fabric in alphabetical order, ooh, all that fabric for that little blue jay. But you want to take a look. So this is a fat 16th, and this is where the suggested placements. If you're just starting, you might want to go specific with this. Full transparency, I'm a cut as I go person, so I do not cut all of the fabric by color or by row or anything like that. I don't cut it first. I'm a cut as I go. So if I'm working row A and I'm on block 3 of the 4 that for row A, I'm cutting that fabric for that block at the time I'm sitting down to sew it. It's just how I do it. That's how I learned, and that's how I've done it for the past couple years. So that's how I do it here too. I know some folks do that with their Legit kits. Some folks just do it like that for any FPP. Some folks are definitely a cut guide, cut out you know, exactly how they're recommending it and go from there, so there are no mistakes. If you are a beginner, I might make the suggestion that that's what you do. You go ahead and you take AS, and it tells you here every block that you're cutting this for, and what number it is. So like D2D is 8, so that's, you're cutting that from up there. You might want to do that. Go through and just cut everything, and organize the cut fabric differently than what I'm doing now, because once the fabric's cut, and you might want to keep it by block, and so maybe you set up yours by each block, you know, how many is this? 4 by, so 16 blocks. So maybe you do it, you have 16 set up in folders with all the cut fabric ready to go. Totally up to you. That would work. I think that'd be very organized. It makes a lot of sense. It's just not the way I do it. So I will look through the cut guide, because, you know, maybe there's a piece that I might want to be like, I need to pay attention to how generous and how I'm cutting this, because this fat 16th looks like it could get close if I miscut something, and you might want to check for, especially when they're close like this, are there big pieces that you might want to cut first? You want to get the big ones out of the way, because you can often fit the smaller pieces in, but it's really hard to put, you know, this big piece, if you've cut all these little pieces, where do you fit that big piece in? So you might want to go in, yeah, take a look at this one. This one's going to be close, and this is just a scrap, so there's no telling how that might end up. You might want to take a look at that one. So that's the recommendation for the cut guide. Go through, take a look, see which ones you're thinking this one might get me. Maybe you go ahead and cut all of the fabric out for that one and add it in your file system with that block. And so you know you already have all that cut and you're good to go. And then you can cross off the pieces as you're cutting them. That would be very organized. All right, so let's move these guys. And so this goes into the cut guide, just like that. And I slide this guy into the next file spot. There we go. And then the working section, I only have filled with anything when I'm actually working on something. So I'll just hold on to that. Maybe over here. Then for this, because it's 4 rows, I just have all the rows already done, because again, I recorded this and didn't have it on. But so I'll take all my A's, put all my A's in. And so with A, I'll show you guys what these blocks look like. So A1, definitely one I would start first, like be one of the first ones I did as a beginner. Go ahead and jump on putting these pieces together. So A1 is, so 1 is here. The cool thing about working with Kona solids is you don't have to worry about directional fabric or wrong side, right side stuff. So if you're very new to paper piecing, and what got me when I was new to paper piecing is remembering that this is the side you're sewing on, but this is the side you're looking at. This is the finished pretty side. And so when you're putting your first piece down, which is the only piece number 1 is the only piece that you don't flip over, because it's already laying down. It's the first piece. I often forgot to have that face up and then put the piece 2 right sides. I would have this facing down too, and I sew with a 1.2 stitch length when I'm doing all foundation paper piecing, and that's not fun to have to rip out. So The awesome thing about the Kona solids is you don't have to worry about that. Every side is the right side. But this is the side you sew, and this is for these two pieces together. You'll sew on this line, and then on the flip side, when you flip it over, so this, I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. This line is what you're sewing. This piece is face up because it's in the one spot, so it's facing up. Piece 2, you would flip over and iron right on that sew line and get ready for piece 3. Some folks use a postcard to fold their pre-fold their paper. I like the postcard method. Totally up to you. Some folks use add a quarter or add an eighth to fold over the papers. Completely up to you. But so this is row A, so that will go in A section. Then row B will pop in B. This is the boring part. I apologize, but it's necessary to get organized so you don't feel completely overwhelmed. You just sit down to put on your favorite, I don't know, true crime video or movie that you've watched 17 billion times, and just do the organization a bit and get it out of the way. Oh, I forgot a B. Pop this in the back. There we go. Then C and D. Right. And D. So BJ the Blue Jay will certainly be added to my rotation of blocks and the kits that I will be sewing and putting out on YouTube. So if you're interested in what this guy looks like, I will be adding him to finishing up Sail Away and finishing up the flowers and Mini Sculliver and the bomb. So yeah, there will be ample examples of putting together legit kits on my website. So let me get these rows in, and then I'll show you what I do with the fabrics. And in and in. Ow. Paper cut. That was the worst. Not as bad as a cardboard paper cut, but that hurt. All right, so let's just make sure I'm not going to bleed on my fabric. I think we're good to go. All right, fabric time. So all of your, if you get the kit from Legit Kits, all of the fabrics will come labeled with their often two-letter code, sometimes only one letter, but their letter code, the name of the fabric. I should have said that. It's also in the color guide. It all has that listed too, and in the cut guide too. So it's kind of wherever you are, you can find your way back to what it was you were doing. So two-letter code, the name, the number if you wanted to reorder, if you needed to get more. If you miscut and you run out of fabric, you don't have to go out and get more unless you have it in your stash and you're good to go, because you don't want to wait. You can reach out to the Legit Kits if you've miscut and you don't have enough to finish your project. They want you to finish your project. They want you to be happy. They want you to feel successful. Reach out to them on their the contact portion of their website. Let them know. They will get more fabric out to you. So don't feel like, well, now I have to go buy, a fat quarter and spend more money. Reach out to them. Let them know. How much, it also shows you how much fabric is left and then this piece is for Blue Jay. This is the kit it's for, because you might have many kits. So what I do is I will go through and alphabetize all of these fabrics from a fragment, scrap, fat 16th, a couple fat 16ths, fat 8th, couple fat 8ths, still fat 8th, oh, I think that's where we stop at fat 8th, fat quarter, let's see, yep, that's fat quarter, half yard. I think half yard is as big as it gets. Yep, half yard. So I'll go through and I'll alphabetize all of these and put them in file folders with what I'll do is just do E, and I'll put every E from E through EZ if that has a color. But every one, every single letter file will have all of the letter combinations of that in each kit in it, all with the kit in its own file system. Again, now that I've broadened into how many kits I have now, I'm going to start from those scraps, putting the scraps into its own file folder. I already have the file folder over there ready to go. And I'll start collecting all the scraps, but I will keep each kit's setup with the work that I'm doing, because it just makes sense to me, and I like having it all together, and so I know like where I am with each kit, and I'm not worried about do I have enough, and if I forget that I'm not supposed to cut that, for goodness gracious. There's just so many things that I can picture going wrong that I want to stay away from it. So I will get all of that alphabetized and put in their own folders. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch all of that, but that's how I'll do that. Alphabetized and put into the folders. And then when I'm ready to work on a section, I'll say, all right, I'm going to work on one I know is easy. I'm going to take A1. I'm going to find its fabric in here. I'm going to go to my working section. I'm going to find its fabric, like I said. I'm going to put the block I'm working on. Let's say these pieces are the pieces that go to A1. I'm going to put those pieces of fabric in there, and then I'm going to go to the assembly guide, and I'm going to get that block as well, so that when I have, oh, nope, I grabbed A2. Well, anyway, when I'm done, I will then put it together the way it says, all in the working section. And this will be what comes with me to my sewing machine. Generally stays on my desk, like I said, but if I might have to put it in the file system because I need to do something else, or I'm going to work on another project, and I don't want it to get knocked down and lose pieces or anything like that. I'll put it back in the file system, but always come back to the working section and just pull that out, and that's where I know I left off, and that's where I need to start again. So I think that's it, at least for the organization bit. But it goes that fast. You know, you might have more rows and more columns, so you might be setting up more folders. So I think the largest one, Sailaway, has A through H. So I have A through H folders set up. And then the folder gets thicker and thicker because it's 8 columns, so there are 8 blocks in each row. So it definitely gets thick when it's ready to go, and then when I sew it all together, that's so satisfying though. But yeah, I think that's it. That's how I organize all this stuff and how I'm ready to go with my working sections each time. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'd love to talk. Say hello to Harmonica. He may lay down on my folders. Are you gonna lay down? I don't know what he's gonna do. He's probably gonna knock things over. Oh, he is gonna lay down. All right, well, from Harmonica and myself, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate your time, and we will talk again soon. Thanks.